Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks for knitting the Lily of the Incas Shawlette pattern from my Compliments collection book. You can order it as an instant download book or as a printed book, and you can even order a kit to make the shawl yourself with the Bijou Basin Ranch yak yarn. All the links are listed below, and let's get started. Okay, the shawl starts with casting on 7 stitches, and I've already done my slip knot, and holding my working yarn in the back of my hand and the tail in the front of my hand, I'm going to grab a loop and pull through the working yarn to cast on 7 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then what the instructions say to do is to work 2 rows in stockinette stitch, starting with the right side row. Now, stockinette stitch is where you work knit on the right side and purl on the wrong side. So we're going to start with a row of 7, knitting across 7 stitches. We're going to knit all 7. Like that, and then we're going to purl on the wrong side for our second row in stockinette stitch. So we'll just purl across all 7. And this shawl is worked in alternating bands of reverse stockinette stitch and stockinette stitch so that you get that beautiful texture. And in order to make the stitch, the increases to make the shawl grow and become a half circle, we have to do a lot of increases, concentrate on different rows. So what I've done for this particular shawl is worked the increases in the stitch below. So let me show you how to do that. On the next row, we're going to make 1 in every stitch across, which means we're going to knit into the stitch 1 row below here, pick up and knit a stitch before knitting the stitch that's actually on the left hand needle. So you're creating 2 stitches out of 1. We'll do that again. We're going to knit into the stitch 1 row below by inserting our right hand needle, pick yarn over and pull up a loop, and then knit the stitch that's on the needle. There's all kinds of ways to make an increase. You can knit into the front and back of the same stitch, but this was the way that I thought it actually blended the best for the type of stitching that we do in this shawl. And this is how you work your concentrated increase rows in the pattern. It's all written out in the pattern when to do it, but that is how you will increase, by working into the stitch 1 row below. The edging for this shawl is very easy to do. All you need to do is alternate 3 rows of stockinette stitch with reverse stockinette stitch. And so what you need to do is use a split ring stitch marker and mark the right side of your work. So if this is facing the right side of the work, means stockinette stitch will be knit on the right side and purl on the wrong side. When you are on when you're doing reverse stockinette stitch, you're going to do the opposite. So when the right side is facing, you'll be purling, and when the wrong side is facing, you'll be knitting. So you're just doing the opposite. So you're going to do a knit, purl, knit, starting with the right side facing, and then knit, purl, knit. If you keep doing that sequence for the 3 rows, it'll end up showing reverse stockinette on the right side and stockinette on the right side, alternating like that. In the last repeat, we did 2 rows of 2 rows of stockinette stitch, and on the 3rd row we're going to do some cinching, and let me show you how we do that. It starts with knitting 12 stitches. So we're just, now in your pattern you'll have already done the side ties as well. I'm just showing you at this point how to do the cinching of the pattern, which is the only thing that might be a little bit different than what you're used to doing already. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we do 12 stitches, and I also didn't do the same number of repeats as in the actual pattern for the edging, but what I'm going to do is show you that what you're doing is dropping down straight below where the stitch you just worked, and you're going to work into the stitch at the very end of all of the edging rows. In the pattern it's 15 rows, here it's 12 rows, so it's the same, but basically it's the same thing. You're going to take your right hand needle, insert it into the stitch below all of that, yarn over and pull up a loop like that, and you're going to pull it really tight so it's a stitch, and see how it's pulling, gathering up all that work. Knit the very next stitch and then pass that extra picked up knit stitch over like that, and then pull it tight again. And see, that's how we create that swagged effect in the edging. You'll continue to do that, working 12 stitches, then picking one up below all the edging rows, and you'll continue this across the row, and then to bind off, you're going to bind off in purl very loosely, and that's it. Okay, so let's see that one more time. We're going to knit into the stitch directly below all the rows of the edging. In your pattern it will be 15 rows, here it's 12, but it's the same thing. You're going to work into the stitch directly below all those rows. Insert your right hand needle, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull it tight, knit the next stitch, and then pass that picked up knit stitch over and pull it tight again. And you can see that it's going to swag all of those extra rows because you're cinching it every 12 rows. Continue that across to the end of the row, and then I'll show you how to do the loose bind off in purl. Adding a yarn over in a bind off is my favorite way to make a very loose bind off for the lower edge of a shawl. Normally I do it in knitting, but for this pattern I did it in purl, and that's what I want to show you how to do today. So we start by purling one stitch, then we're going to yarn over, which means pulling the yarn to the back of the work, then purl the next stitch. And now to bind off, instead of just binding off that one stitch, we're going to insert our left hand needle into the yarn over and the first stitch, pulling both of those up and over the second stitch and off the needle, counting as our first bind off stitch. And then we'll yarn over to the back side of the work so that we're doing a yarn over, then purl one stitch, and then insert our left hand needle into the yarn over and the first stitch, pulling them up and over the second. And I pull the working yarn a little bit tight at this point just so it doesn't slide, make the stitches too loose. Pull them up, over, and off the needle, and then you've bound off your second stitch. And what you'll find is that adding that extra yarn over length is what's giving you a really nice elastic and loose edge for the lower edge of a shawl. For more information on this project and many more, check out all the links below the video. Thanks!